Okay, here we are in the 30-inch spacing. Again, similar situation over here to my left. We have the 120,000 plant population. Over here to my right, we have the 90,000 plant population. And the one thing we can see that's more notable from either the 7.5s or the 15-inch spacing is we can still see a good amount of opening down into the lower parts of the canopy. Maybe you can't see all the way down to the soil level, but at least to the lower parts of the canopy, you can see a pretty substantial amount of openness down and through there. A couple of things. This row spacing, especially the 90,000 row spacing, was a lot drier earlier in the season. We collected Canopy ratings throughout the early part of the season. It was the treatment that took the longest to get to 50% coverage, took the longest to get to 75% coverage is what we like to see, you know, to call canopy closure or lapping of those rows. And it still is the only treatment that we haven't distinguished, at least in one plot, 100% canopy coverage or over 90% canopy coverage. So we are going to see a good amount of the lower canopy, if not the soil conditions, in these 30-inch spacings, especially as we decrease our seeding rate. When we increase it, we can cover up a lot of that with just upper canopy leaf material. But if you take a look and you look over here, you're still going to see a good amount of opening and a good amount of distance between the canopy here and the canopy over here. A lot of this that's covering that canopy is upper canopy. So it's a lot of leaves up in the upper quarter of that plant that is closing in those rows, but the bottom part of the canopy is still fairly open. Again, this can be pretty good when we're going towards the end of the season and we're drying out that plant. We're wanting wind to kind of come in through here and help us dry that plant out. But also, we're planted north and south here, and so a good south wind can really dry out these rows, and it did dry out these rows earlier in the season. So something to think about, especially as we go later in the year into these plants. We are going to start seeing that the issue of closing in those canopies becomes greater of an issue because we just have less amount of time to grow vegetatively, and these 30-inch spacings, especially with the lower seeding rates, can cause us an issue, especially if we go through those periods of hot, dry conditions with very little precipitation.